Gene Deal and Suge Knight are joining forces to expose the dark secrets surrounding Diddy. In a bombshell revelation, Gene claims that Diddy has secretly been working as an FBI informant for years, feeding the Bureau intel while allegedly covering up his own involvement in the murder of Tupac Shakur. The stakes are getting dangerously high. Gene Deal says he's now being targeted for speaking out and was recently attacked by people linked to Diddy. With tensions escalating, Deal's life may be in serious danger.
He's going to go to prison. And if you do, it'll be for something very, very small. It wouldn't be nothing what the people think. I don't think he's going to go nowhere long. And at the same time, you got to look at it. The best witness they had is Keefy D. Keefy D been an informant for a very, very long time. And Keefy D is getting ready to go to trial for the murder of Tupac. Keefy D said it, everybody else know it, and Keefy D says the money came from Puffy, to keep Tupac and myself. So if they really wanted Puffy that bad, Keefy D would have put a deal with them, got on that stand, and broke it down. That'd have been the RICO right there. That'd have been murder for hire right there.
And I got a lot of respect for you, Suge. I got so much respect for you, bro, because when this East Coast, West Coast walk could have been shut down, Pac was living, Big was living, Eric B, Big D, y'all set up there and y'all was gonna set up a meeting. Everybody who had something to do with it was supposed to show up, and Puff refused to. You didn't, brother. You wanted this shit to be over with. Even though you didn't f with Puff, y'all wasn't dealing with each other no more. I remember when you and Pac was in the car behind the House of Blues. You was in the red Rolls Royce, Pac was in the white. I was in the car when Puff rolled up on you and said, yo, Suge, we got any problems down here? And you said, bro, I don't know any problems you got. That was even after Jake was. You said, brother, I don't know any problems you got.
Suge Knight and Gene Deal may be the last two insiders who truly know what happened the night Tupac Shakur was gunned down. Suge was in the car when Tupac was shot, and Gene Deal was allegedly with Diddy at the time the murder was being planned. On September 29, 2023, nearly 27 years after Tupac's death, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was formally charged in connection with the drive-by shooting. But now, in a shocking twist, Keefe D. has filed court documents in Nevada claiming that Diddy was the one who ordered the hit. According to Keefe, Diddy paid him to carry out the assassination, using Eric Von Zip Martin as the middleman for the transaction. Keefe further alleges that Diddy didn't just want Tupac dead, he wanted Suge Knight eliminated too.
During the Biggie Smalls investigation in the early 2000s, the filing reads, the three LAPD and FBI agents were part of a task force to solve the shooting of rapper Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, legal name Christopher Wallace. The task force, through a sophisticated criminal investigation, obtained sufficient evidence that would prove Mr. Davis was the leader of the Southside Crips and his gang was responsible for over 360 kilos of cocaine and PCP. Mr. Davis provided 3 interviews to obtain immunity from prosecution. The final interview were solely questions regarding the Tupac Shakur shooting, which Mr. Davis was also provided immunity from prosecution. So during a December 2008 interview with investigators, that is when Davis allegedly started to spill the beans about his one-time friend, Sean Combs, who he refers to as Puffy. He claims Sean Puffy Combs solicited Mr. Davis to kill Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur for $1 million. Eric Zip Martin, an associate of Puffy Combs, provided Mr. Davis with a gun to exact revenge on Tupac Shakur for the beating Mr. Anderson received. Now, Davis reportedly told the investigators that even though the job had been partially completed and Shakur was killed, neither he nor Anderson ever got paid. He later revealed that he believes Combs had paid the go-between Zip Martin, who he claims kept the money for himself. And he said much of the same thing in a 2009 interview a year later, because according to the motion to dismiss, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, as far back as 2009, was in possession of the same set of facts that the Clark County District Attorney is now alleging makes Mr. Davis responsible for the Tupac Shakur. The Clark County District Attorney's Office has offered no reason as to why it waited another 14 years to prosecute a case against Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis has been irreversibly prejudiced by this unnecessary delay in prosecution of this case, and Mr. Davis's constitutional rights have been violated in an extraordinary manner never before witnessed in the annals of the American criminal justice system.
Just days after claiming that Diddy was involved in Tupac's murder, Keefe D was suddenly attacked in prison. Is it really just a coincidence that the moment he names Diddy, he's assaulted behind bars? Or is someone trying to silence him before more truth comes out? The timing is too perfect and too dangerous to ignore.
We have an update now on Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. He's charged in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Davis was in court again this morning after a fight with another inmate. Fox 5's Mike Allen walks us through what happened.
Dwayne Davis is answering for a jailhouse brawl. Here's what court records show, along with images from surveillance video released by Las Vegas Justice Court. On December 23rd, Davis was being escorted back into his cell when another inmate, Rockland Hamilton, who's also facing a charge, is standing to the right by a sink in this room. Hamilton walked over to Davis and squared up, looking ready to fight. They started throwing punches and grappling, and the officer escorting Davis called for backup, gave verbal commands too for the inmates to stop fighting, and then hit them with pepper spray. Before backup officers arrived, the two inmates kept grappling and throwing punches and were eventually separated after backup officers got into the room. Both Davis and Hamilton face battery by prisoner charges.
Suge Knight is the only living witness who truly knows what went down that night, and has made it clear Puff Daddy was involved in Tupac's murder. Gene Deal has backed him up, repeating the same explosive claim. Even law enforcement reportedly knew Diddy was connected, but he was never indicted. Why? Because he was leaking information to the feds. Diddy has allegedly been acting as an informant for decades, and on the streets, everyone knew exactly what kind of man he really was.
Man, that caught my attention. You said that Suge, he's the only one who knows who killed Tupac. Why you say that?
Suge was there. Suge was there, and even though you in a hostile situation and you've been, and guns is firing out, you're gonna get that glance and that look at the individuals or the people in the car. Like Keefe D said, I spoke to Suge. We know each other from school. So in that time, as you speaking to somebody, you see who is in the car. You see who's in the car. If somebody got enough time to speak to you or say something to you and have a brief conversation, they got enough time to get a glance of who in that car. Now check this out. If they know each other and the windows is down and they spoke to each other, you don't think Suge don't know who did the shooting or who was in there? He said, I'll never say it. Because to him, he'll be a rat.
Allegedly, Diddy didn't act alone in orchestrating the hit on Tupac. He had help from the inside, a traitor within Death Row Records. Someone close enough to know Tupac's every move. Someone trusted. This so-called double agent reportedly blended in with Tupac's inner circle while secretly feeding information to the other side. Details like when Tupac would be in Vegas, what car he'd be in, and who would be with him were allegedly all handed over, setting the stage for the fatal ambush.
The shooter, the person who shot Tupac, did you get to see their face? And was this a person that worked for Death Row?
Yeah. What I would say is this. I'm not calling a certain person Judas, whereas names could go with those people are Judas. I know it's more than one person involved in the assassination. And respectfully, I would say that I gave the husband, I gave the wife, and by the way, they're black people. I stand on my blackness because I am black. So out of respect to them and their project, you the homie, which you gonna have to wait to see what really happened when they put it out. That's all I can say about that part. But there's no secrets.
Testified that he saw, and he was overworked, and that he saw things that just didn't make sense, and that he had to run down on Suge Knight, or would have if Suge Knight would have actually been there.
I was thinking about that. If all of this stuff is true, Suge Knight ain't had nothing on Diddy. What you mean?
You think so?
Suge
Or do
Knight
we
has
just
always been known as the boogeyman of hip hop. But if all of this stuff is true, Suge ain't had nothing on Diddy.
Oh, you mean as far as the type of person they are?
Being a boogeyman.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like bad boy was bad boy for real.
If the FBI truly wanted to take Diddy down, they could have done it at any time. Let's not forget, Diddy was casually revealing illegal activity on live television. The feds boast a 98% conviction rate, and over 30 witnesses have testified against him. Yet Diddy never even took the stand, and somehow, he still dodged every serious charge. This so-called conviction? It's just for show. Diddy knows he's walking away clean, and that's exactly how the system was designed to protect him.
If the answers are there, how could you not say they don't want to see Puffy get life? The FBI is the most powerful people in the world. They're government. They have great prosecution people. Look at the prosecution rate. I think it's maybe 92, 98%. If you was just looking at it, you wouldn't think the prosecutors, as great as they are, that they was really trying to get this man off the street. But it's still, if I was Puffy, I'd just some time and got out the way. Because if he go in there and do a little time, he was going to feel he paid some debt to society. He'd start off where he left. If he get no time, the street's going to know deal's been cut. If you get no time, nobody in the industry is gonna fuck with him. It's gonna be a bad problem for him because Puffy gotta have security 24 hours a day. It ain't Puffy can get out of jail and start his own car up and drive around and live life. Him without security, he know he on ball time. So he has to have security. Him without drugs, shit, he probably wouldn't be able to have a conversation with nobody. He probably wouldn't be able to look nobody in the eye. He probably wouldn't even be able to bag a bitch.
Diddy knows too much. Every secret, every whisper, every buried rumor in the industry. For years, he and a handful of elites have controlled the narrative in hip-hop, pulling strings behind the scenes. But eventually, even the puppet masters become liabilities. That's why Diddy was arrested, not because they wanted justice, but because the elites wanted him gone. The only reason he slipped through the cracks is simple. He's been a criminal informant, and the feds still needed what he knew.
Is Diddy at a level of being untouchable where he's protected, or is Diddy a target that they'll eventually put all the blame on him and make sure they get away with it free?
I mean, he's definitely going to be the black motherfucker in the bag. Because you gotta realize one thing. That boy life is dangerous. And his life isn't, and he's just not dangerous with the shit they said he was doing, but he's in danger. He knows too much. One thing you gotta realize is he probably having a conversation right now with the higher ups and everybody else to figure out how it's gonna work itself out, because he know all the secrets. And if he gets to running his mouth, it could be a bad look. I look at it like the most important thing is the industry needs to be built over. You have all these executives because somebody was their father, their grandfather, or all these type of stuff, and they don't give people the opportunity to grow and learn. I know when I first started in this business, it wasn't a machine. I had to be the machine. I had to figure out how to get my songs on the radio, because at that time they was getting 5% and they got 10%. Those popping champagne bottles. I went from 95% of the songs you hear on the radio was my songs into 97%. So you have to really do all this thing and really do the work. And once the work...
Gene Deal has been exposing Diddy's secrets for years, and now it looks like Diddy has finally had enough. He's not about to risk prison again, and it seems he's ready to silence Gene by any means necessary. Just days ago, Gene was attacked, allegedly by Diddy's supporters, and insiders say this may only be the beginning. In a recent video, Gene even claimed that Diddy sent men after him and made it clear he wants Gene Deal gone.
I'm not the type of dude that you can come up on like
Bro,
this.
listen. We out here
what kind of content?
You're not gonna tell me what to do.
You can't come up on me.
Bro, listen.
If you come up on me, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out.
That's not say. That's what I say. That's what I say. That's what I say. No, bro, shit.
It came to light for y'all that this dude wanted me dead way before I came to YouTube. Because I was having meetings with serious dudes in the street. And he refused to sit down. So what did he do? He tell his security team. He didn't tell the NYPD officers. He didn't tell the Department of Correction officers. He didn't tell none of the parole officers or anybody he had working for him that was officers. He told street dudes who had did dirt in the street. When y'all see Gene, y'all do him dirty. Y'all beat him up. He ain't tell him to beat me up. What I look like getting beat up? What a grown man look like? Somebody smacking him around, hitting him and all this shit like that. I ain't taking no ass whooping. I ain't took an ass whooping since the fucking doctor spanked me on my fucking ass. I ain't took an ass whooping since my mom and my daddy. When they stopped taking it, I guess I'm got amnesia. I don't know what an ass whooping look like or feel like. What he look like telling somebody to whoop my ass? He didn't tell him that. He wanted me in the dirt and was trying to rock me to sleep. He knew where I was at.
Gene Deal isn't the kind of man to back down from a fight, and unlike Diddy, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He's been exposing Diddy's alleged crimes for years, and if intimidation could stop him, it would have worked a long time ago. Gene has said it himself. He doesn't care what happens to him, as long as he goes out speaking the truth. You can't silence a man who isn't afraid to die.
He said, yo, you got questions to answer. For who? I said, if you want me to answer questions, do an interview. I got a booking number, then you do an interview. I'll answer any of your questions. I ain't got no problem of answering anything that you want to know. All you got to do is pay my fee and I'll be there. He said, well, you ain't going to tell me how to get the contact. And as soon as he said that, and he came like he was coming close to me, I took it back to 92. Wu-Tang. Protect your neck. And that's all I'm going to say. I took it back to that. I took it back to 1992 Wu-Tang. Protect your neck. And he know what I'm talking about. Then when I did that, then next thing you know, a girl came, the guards started coming and stuff like that. And he told the guards, yo, watch the camera. He hit me. That's what he said to the guard. So one guard was like this. One guard got in front of me and I moved. He said, yo, Gene. He said, yo, Gene, because he know me. He said, yo, Gene, you could just knock me down, bro. Just take a couple of days and get up out of here. So I was leaving. So he ran and got his camera, and then somebody called my name. He called my name like that. I turned around and I just said to him, I said, yo, bro, I'm not that dude that you could just run up on. I'm not that dude that you could say whatever you want to say. I'm a grown man. You understand? I'm not that dude that you could say whatever you want to say to, because if you run up on me, I'm going to knock you the F out. And that's how that went, bro. And there's nothing I'm proud of. You understand? But you don't talk to grown men. I don't care what kind of YouTube show you got. I don't care what kind of, you want to go viral, you want to do this and you want to do that. You conduct yourself as a gentleman. You want to call yourself a reporter. You don't see all the reporters who went to school. You don't see all the reporters who got their degrees, who got, you know, who worked up the ladder to become who they are, yelling and screaming and cursing and saying all kind of crazy shit to people. You don't see that. But if that's what you choose to do, you choose to do that, bro.
Roger Bonds, Diddy's former bodyguard, has also come forward, confirming that Diddy once instructed his security team to get rid of Gene Deal. According to Bonds, Diddy has been sending men after Gene since as far back as 2008. But Gene Deal was never just a bodyguard. He was a witness. He saw everything: the parties, the abuse, the manipulation. Long before the FBI ever launched their investigation, Gene was speaking out. He witnessed how Diddy mistreated women, intimidated artists, and wielded unchecked power behind closed doors.
But he was like, yo, if y'all see Gene, I'm telling y'all, man, somebody better punch him in the face. Somebody better do something to him, man. He out here doing this, that, and we'd be like, all right.
Okay, so when was this? Because was Gene doing interviews at this point?
Yeah, we talking like 2008, 2009. Gene was spreading the word. You know, Gene was always bad mouthing Gene.
Wait, hold on. Vlad TV started in 2008, 2009. YouTube was really early.
No,
at that
he
point.
wasn't doing YouTube and stuff. He was going around talking a lot of shit. And we
okay.
all from Harlem. So he was just talking a lot of shit. And it's a small, Harlem
Okay,
is
so
small.
what was Gene Deal saying during that time? What did you hear?
He basically was talking about Puff and woman that was going on with him and Kim. Puff being gay, you know, with him and Usher, shit like that. He was talking the same shit that he's talking now on a major scale, but he was spreading it around Harlem.
Okay.
So it was basically a thing where, yo, if y'all see that, man, I'm telling y'all better hear he got hands put on him, this, that, and the other, but we seen him.
Diddy works from the shadows. Even now, as he allegedly sends men after Gene, he's trying to convince the judge that he's changed. Reports say he plans to enter rehab and start therapy for mental health issues, claiming that's why he acted the way he did. But we all know the truth doesn't lie in excuses.
Gene Deal, happy to have you back on the platform, man. October 3rd, man, we're gonna find out if Diddy do time or not. But I do want to ask you, how you feel about this program that he enrolled into?
Well, the programs that they put him in is because of he's getting close to release, or he may be released. So the Bureau of Prisons for the federal government has to give him a program based on his crime that he committed. You know what I'm saying? He did commit a crime. He is going to jail for committing a crime, but the time is going to be based on his pre-sentence report. So now, in the pre-sentence report that the probation officer, the federal probation officer do, they go by the history. If he had any criminal history, they go by the criminal history. They go by the history, the crime. They go by what the victim statements and all that. And they do this report that they submit to the judge. And submitting that report to the judge is gonna have what they believe based on the guidelines of the prison system, the guidelines of the correctional sets up based on what the time he'll do based on the crime. Now, the crime, and let's get this straight, the crime that he committed is based on the Mann Act. And that ranged anywhere from probably 22 to 54 months. Probably 22 to 54 months.
This rehab act is nothing but a sham. Diddy just wants the judge to believe he's changed, a classic move criminals pull before sentencing. Allegedly, he's banking on fooling the court with this performance. But bad mental health doesn't turn someone into a monster who ruins lives for years on end. Diddy wants out, and he's willing to spin whatever lie it takes to get there.
I don't give a flying F about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a facade. It's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? He had enough money way before he got to jail. If he wanted to do something to get himself right, to get off drugs, he could have got the best doctors. You understand? He could have gotten the best treatment facility. If he wanted to stop beating women, he could have got some psychological help. He could have bought the best that money could buy. So all this shit is just to get his sorry ass out to jail. And 9 times out of 10, it usually helps.
Gene isn't afraid of Diddy. He was Diddy's bodyguard. Diddy needed Gene's protection, not the other way around. Even before the trial, Diddy tried to silence him. Gene started receiving calls from people close to Diddy while he was behind bars. Diddy's associates warned Gene that Diddy was willing to pay any price for his silence, and that he'd get it one way or another. Gene spent over a decade by Diddy's side and saw firsthand the monster he truly is. He knows exactly what Diddy is capable of, and still, he chose to speak out.
I'm not gonna worry about somebody that I bodyguard. And God knows I could bodyguard myself with his blessings. I could bodyguard myself with his blessings, bro. I'm not worried about that. Nothing beats an ambush, and I know that. But I'm not worried about his shit. People just need to talk about something. They want to have something to say, man. Oh, Gene gotta be worried, so like that. So, shouldn't I have been worried when he was out here on the street? When he was out here on the street, I should have been worried. Yo, bro, August the 14th, 1999. High-speed chase in Harlem. You understand? How I didn't know that he didn't send nobody after me then. Cause niggas do that shit. They'll send somebody at you. I've seen dudes that do shit and they have Nick right there in the same clique and they didn't even know he did it. So how I know those 4 guys, 5 guns to my head wasn't sitting by him. When Roger Bonds come and say later that Diddy wanted something done to Gene Deal. How I know?
Diddy might intimidate everyone else with his violence and power, but Gene spent over a decade protecting him. Gene says he knows the real Diddy, a coward who can't fight his own battles. And Gene isn't afraid of that. He's not running. He's not looking over his shoulder. He's standing out in the open, daring Diddy to make a move.
Diddy tried to silence you, or tried to get you to stop talking about him.
This is relayed to me by Kirk Burrows. This guy is like this with Diddy. You seen him on Drink Champs with him. You see him walking the streets in Miami with him, the whole 9 yards. So I'm saying to him, what does he want to talk to me for? He ain't got nothing to say to me. He said, yo, Gene, he said enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Enough is enough to what? And I told Kirk Burrows, yo, if he wanted, I said, he don't want to talk to me for himself. He wanted to talk to me for Diddy. And I ain't got nothing to say to him. He ain't said enough is enough to Wolf Mother when he cursed out and told her all kinds of. Did he say enough to Big's mother? What do you mean enough is enough? And that's how that conversation went.
How did you feel about it after you were done?
I felt that, like, cause they must have got at Kirk Burrows, cause Kirk called me with the bullshit. Yo, you gotta fix that. You know this, man. God, excuse me. Listen here, bro. I don't care nothing about none of these industry cats and what they do and how they do it. That's their business. You understand? I don't tell a man how to screw his wife and how to spend his money. You don't tell me what I gotta do with my time. Point blank.
Do you feel like at some point Diddy could try to come after you or do something, you know, being that he's went after a lot of people, he's did a lot of stuff, as you know about.
Cam, let me tell you something, man. If I worried about what somebody would do for me, I wouldn't be the man that I am. I keep my head on the swivel. I do what I have to do to protect myself and my family. All I know is that I know one thing for certain, 2 things for sure. I got people out here that love me. You understand?
Gene Deal is risking everything to expose the darkness behind the fame, with Suge Knight backing him from behind bars. Diddy may have the money, power, and the system's protection, but what has lost is control over the narrative. What do you think Diddy is really hiding? And do you believe Gene Deal will survive long enough to tell the full truth? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.